first I'm going to talk to you about basic geometry, then I'm going to talk to you about the assholes who think they're good at geometry. Now, we start off with the altitude of a pyramid. The perpendicular segment from the vertex to the plane of the base. Altitude of a triangle. The perpendicular segment from a vertex to the line containing the side opposite the vertex. Area of a pyramid. And of a prism. Total area, it's another part. Anyway, congruent angles. Angles that have the same measure. So, the congruent angles on, say, an equilateral triangle or on a square, this is what Masons are concerned with, the measure of a man. And they provide the measure, be it his ability to influence others, be it his ability to reward other people, be it his virtues or his wealth. Their measure is applied when they determine who they are going to accept when the initiate applies, and then is granted the next stage where they work on his deductive reasoning. Reasoning in which general statements are applied to specific cases to produce a conclusion. So they are applying God and geometry and mixing it together and trying to get a conclusion and work on the great work on behalf of the grand architect. Let me go on. Scalene triangle. Triangle having no two sides congruent. They say, okay, this is a triangle. This is not going to work. This country's not going to work. This organization is not going to work. Blah, blah, blah. They just loot it and move on. Square. A rectangle having four congruent sides. That's why they use the square. That's why they use the compass. Okay? Measuring things and stuff. And finding your bearings, as well as the congruency and the deeper implications of a square. Now we go on and see there's geometry, then there's sacred geometry. There's Euclid geometry, and there's advanced master's geometry. We go on. The definition of a triangle itself is the union of three segments determined by three non-collinear points. So they're saying, connect the dots, you dumb bastard. And they're laughing at the masses. And they know that only people like me understand. And even after all these videos, most of you probably still don't understand. So it's like they're speaking their language of the global masters who control you, and you don't get it. And they're making fun of you because you're not as judicious as them. You're not as perspicacious as them. You're not as rational. You're not as discerning or discreet. You're not as aware. You're not as wise. So they prey on you. Like the strong prey on the weak. They have you in a full court fucking press. While they torment, torture, trample, and tyrannize you. Believe it. They're going to dishearten you and vex you like a witch. Crush your God-given spirit. And force you into their cute little box of Satan. While they mistreat you and hound the very virtue out of you. They're going to hound that spirit of God inside of you until it is no longer there. Because they avoid the repercussions. They fail to understand or overstand the deeper implications. It evades them. They are burdened with the fact that they have turned their backs and a deaf ear and a blind eye on what is going on while they wink at each other. They are the scum who think they are more worthy to control the world than you. And how they use to justify it is the same words of Masons before them that contradict what they are doing. Like that all men are created equal and should sit at the table as well. So we look at their website. You got the grand staircase with the two sphinxes which have white faces in front of them. You have Robert Burns' library. See the sphinx face? A white guy's face. This is the House of the Temple. It's on 1733 16th Street in Washington, D.C., and it's in the Northwest, which is important to Masons. They have cornerstones, and they have different corners that have different relevance. As it is the supreme council of the 33rd degree of Scottish Rite Freemasonry in the southern jurisdiction of the United States of America, they are the scum who manipulate the United States of America. In fact, remember how I was mentioning they burned the Library of Alexandria so they can control the information? Well, if you think I'm kidding, let's go down to library. What do we have here? The House of the Temple's library, located on the main floor, is the oldest library in D.C. that is open to the public and houses over 250,000 precious books, manuscripts, and other publications. Two of its rarest volumes include Benjamin Franklin's 1734 reprinting of Reverend James Anderson's The Constitutions,